the one, the only, Ben Sion. Good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Just Daf It. As we do Mesechus Gittin Daf Nun Aleph, number 51 on a fast day. It's not easy to give a share on a fast day, but you got to do it. Daf Yomi does not have any breaks. Let's get started at the bottom. Nun Amud Beis, the last line. Rabbi Chanina. Right, we have two opinions, Rabbi Ula and Rabbi Chanina. What's the reason that in certain cases you can't collect from encumbered properties? Mentioned the Mishnah, Mazon Ishan Bonos, when it comes to when someone stole land and you're reclaiming the land, or someone else reclaimed the stolen land, then you want to go back to the thief and collect. You can't collect from encumbered properties. Now, the first reason Ula gave is because those expenses are not written down. Rabbi Chanina left off yesterday. He says because they're could be astronomical. They're not ksuvin. There's no set amount, so people can't protect themselves. So Rabbi Chanina ksuvin boy. Does he need, in order to be able to collect from encumbered property, mishubadim, people who bought land from the debtor, does it have to be a set amount and written down? Or maybe just the fact that it has a definite amount, even though it's not written down. Tashma, to bring up proof. Deitmar, top of an olive, he died and he left his estate. He had two daughters and one son. When a daughter gets married, she gets to take 1/10 of the value of the estate for her dowry. And before the second one can get married, the son died. Now, when the son dies, there's only two daughters. The daughters inherit the entire estate. The second one loses, even when she gets married, she doesn't get a dowry. She only gets a dowry when the estate does not belong to the girls, and she's taking 1/10 of the estate for a dowry. But when she owns half of the estate, she doesn't get another 10th. Said to right? When it comes to taking out for a dowry from the father's estate, we don't just take out from the father's actual land. We even take out from mishubadim. If the father sold property to someone else, we can collect from that. From mazonos, right, that the daughters are fed, we don't collect from encumbered properties. How could it be that the second one loses out when she gets married on a 10th of the estate? That parnasa to make its kaitza, michtav lo ksiva, v'kamotzia. But parnasa, right? Rabbi Chanina said a statement. Rabbi Chanina said parnasa happens to have a set amount, 1/10 of the nechasim, but it's never written down. And you see that you take it out from encumbered properties. So you see, according to Rabbi Chanina, you just need ksuvin, even if it's not ksuvin. Versus shiny parnasa came on the islay kala, come on the ksiva dummy. Everyone knows that a woman gets 1/10 of the nechasim as dowry, so therefore it's like it's written down. Since it's like it's written down, so therefore it's not a proof. Right? Maybe you need ksuvin and ksuvin. Meisiv Rav Huna Bar Noah. Rav Huna Bar Noah asked the following question. He's asking on Ula, which says Ksuvin. Meisiv ben Oseyan. This is a Mishnah Mesechus Ksuvos. It talks about a father, a man who marries a woman who has a daughter, and he makes a stipulation when he marries this woman, I'm going to feed your daughter for 5 years, sort of like a loan, an obligation. A balchol, we'll see. So, and then he divorced her within the 5 years, and then she remarries somebody else, and he likewise makes the same stipulation, and they divorce. So they both have chovos to this daughter, even though neither of them are married to the woman, to the daughter's mother anymore. Nonetheless, they still both have to pay out. One gives her mazonos, and the other one gives her in cash. So the Mishnah says, Mesu ben Oseyan, Mesu, right? Let's say these people, these two previous husbands who divorced their wives with a daughter, they're actual daughters from their marriages to these women. They only get to take mazonos from unencumbered properties. This woman who wasn't their daughter, she was the daughter only of the wife. It's like a loan. A loan takes money out from mishubadim, as opposed to Tanai Ksuba, which doesn't. So you see what? Even though it's not written down, they collect. How could it be according to Ula? When they got married and they pledged to give support to this woman's daughter, they made a kinyan and sudar. So it's like a kinyan and sudar. You could write a star. They didn't necessarily write the star, but it's given for ksiva. So therefore, it's like it's written down. Yihachi banos nami. Why don't those daughters collect from encumbered properties if it did a kinyan sudar? It's talking about I made a kinyan for the woman's daughter, but not of his own daughters. My psaka. Why do we assume it's that case? It's that way. Basi ishto the hava b'shas kinyan mahani like kinyan. Right? The daughter of his wife, she was alive. So therefore a kinyan sudar works. Bito lahavi b'shas kinyan, right? He got married to this woman, and then he had daughters with her. They're not alive. Lo mahani la kinyan. You can't do a kinyan sudar. There was shlo balolam. So are we also talking about the habu taravayu b'shas kinyan? Really, it's possible both the daughter of the wife and his own daughters were there. What's the case? The Girsha Hadra, right? He married her, and they had children, and then he remarried and divorced, then remarried her. And he made, the second when he remarried her, he made the obligation to the daughter of his wife. And his daughters were alive. So the Gemara gives a different answer. Albito, the Tanai based in Ka'achla, she gets to be fed. Because it's Tanai based in, Tanai Ksuva, right? Based in enforces in Ksuva, Lo Mahani La Kinyan. Basishta, the law of Tanai based in Ka'achla Mahani La Kinyan. Right? The pledge that he makes to his wife's daughter has nothing to do with the Ksuva. Char says, Vichi Migra Gara. Why should a Tanai Ksuva be less than an obligation? Elabito came on the Tanai based in Ka'achla. His daughter, she gets fed through based and enforces that. Amar Srari Atasa. There it's likely that he gave money already, put money aside to feed his daughters, to make sure that Tanai Basin is fulfilled. But we don't assume that when it comes to his wife's daughter, who's not his own daughter. So therefore, she has a stronger kinyan, and she's able to collect even from the Mishubadim. Tashma Amar of Nasan. Amasai. When do we say that a person who bought land from a thief, right? He can't go back to the purchaser, the people who purchased property, other purchasers from the thief, and collect from encumbered properties his improvements or the payrolls that grew. He can't take those. If the purchaser purchased from the thief before this person made the field better, made the field or the real estate better, or he did renovations. If he did renovations before the second person sold, you do collect from encumbered property. You do collect from the properties that this thief sold. So you see what? It's only in the case where he didn't come first. But if we would have made the renovations first, he does collect, even though it's not ksuvin or ksuvin, right? So you see, it is collect. The Gemara says Tanai. The Gemara says it actually is a makolos Tanaim. The Sanya, the Bryce Amos see on Achilas Peros Shvach Karkos Mazan Isha Laban Mishkas Mishubadim they take an Olam, which follows our Mishnah. In all four cases, you don't take out. Lefish and Ksuvin, because it's not written. Amar Rabbi Yossi Yichima Tikun Olam Yesh Bazu Valo Ein Ksuvin. Right. So you see, Rabbi Yossi holds the reason is because they're not an amount. And the first opinion is because they're not written. Right, when you take out from a thief, right, it's not ksuvin or ksuvin. Right, renovations are not ksuvin or ksuvin. Mazon Ishaban is also not ksuvin or ksuvin. So you see, it's a machlokes hanoim. Right, Rabbi Yossi holds the reason it's like Rabbi Chanina, like ksuvin, and Ula is the opinion of the Tanakama. So there we have it. It's machlokes hanoim. And Mosi Mitzia lo yeshava. The Mishnah continues. Someone who finds a mitzia, he doesn't have to take a shvuah. Normally, motive and mixas, you take a shvuah. Here you don't have to take a shvuah. Amar Yitzchak elaborates on a Mishnah. Shnei kisin kshurin matzasali. He finds, I found two wallets, or two pouches of money. They were tied together. Bahala omer lamatzasi. Sorry, the person who lost it, he says, didn't you find my two pouches? Bahala omer lamatzasi al echad. So I only found one, nishba. He does take a shvuah, motive and mixas. Shnei shvarim kshurim matzasali. Someone says, maybe you found two of my oxen that were tied together. He doesn't take a shvuah. My time is shvarim mintchi adadi. Kisel mintchi adadi. That oxen, right, even if they're tied together, oftentimes the rope will break. So therefore, it's very possible they only found one. But it's not normal for if pouches of money were tied together. If you found one, you found the others. Therefore, we're suspecting he has to take a shvuah. Shnei shvorin kshur matzasa. V'halo mer matzati v'echzarti lecha echad men. Harei zeh nishba. This adds another case where you take a shvuah. Even if it's 2 oxen, right? And he says, you found 2 oxen. And he says, I found both of them, but I gave you back one of them. So in this case, also take mushal minimixas because he could have known. He would have known if he gave it back or not. So the Gemara has, what about our Mishnah? Mishnah says, when it comes to mitzias, when it comes to finding something, you don't make a shvuah. So how could he, in these 2 cases, he rules by kisim, or even by shvarim, even by oxen, if he admits to returning one, then he has to take a shvuah. He doesn't hold for a Mishnah. So the Gemara in Nunal Bay says, Huda Amar Rozer ben Yaakov. He says like Rozer ben Yaakov. Yitzchak follows the opinion of Rozer ben Yaakov. The Sanya, or Raisa, Rozer ben Yaakov Omer, Palmim Sha'adam Nishbal Taina Tatzmo. Sometimes a person, he just makes his own time, his own claim, meaning seemingly without the litigant coming and saying, you owe me something. He has to take a shvuah. What makes us Keita? What's the case? Mana lavicha biyadi. He comes to a person, he says, your father, right? Your father loaned me $100. Hachaltiv pras. And I paid him back $50. Harei zeh nishba. You have to take a shvuah. V'zeh usha nishba tainas atmo. He takes a shvuah, even though the other person didn't even claim anything. He says, your father happened to have loaned me money. I paid him half. Make him take a shvuah. In this case, he's a meisha aveda. He's returning something which is lost. The other person didn't know about it. Potter. He's exempt, like our Mishnah. He doesn't hold of our Mishnah that you're potter. The case is not there was no taina over here. A person actually claims that his father lent him money, but he's a katan. He's under bar mitzvah. Or says katan midi mishasha is paid. Why would Rabbi Yaakov hold you take a shvuah? If a katan chera shot or a katan makes a taina, their taina is inconsequential because they don't have das, they don't know what they're saying. So therefore, it's not grounds for making a shvuah, even if you only admit to half. So Mar says, my katan, Rozer Yaakov didn't mean a katan, really, gadol. He's really over our mitzvah. So his taina is a taina. Now, my car, they katan. Why does he call him a katan? Like, I merely the aviv katan, right? He doesn't know. Even older children don't know what their father did. So, but he's a gadol, so his taina is an effective taina. Why does Rabbi Yaakov call it tainas atzmo? That he's initiating the taina. Tainas acher. The gadol initiated the taina. He said, you owe my father $100. Tainas acher odas atzmo. He meant to say that other people are asking him for money, and he himself admits. He says, Kulu, all cases of modern mixas, tanasa nami, tainas acher odas atzmo. No, that's what modern mixas is. Someone demands $100. I loaned you $100. He said, I only paid you back. I paid you back. Right? He said, I paid you back 50, right? So, you make him take a shvuah on the other hand. Elab the Rabbah kamifli. So the Gemara says, the Gemara backtracks. The Gemara is really we're talking about not a tainas gadol, a tainas katan. This is the way Rashi learns the Gemara. Will explain it, and Iyad Ben Sion will explain it. It's a big machlokes Rashi and other Rishonim and Tosfos. A huge machlok is over here about something very fundamental. Does more than makes us apply only in case of alva, also by pikadon, and we'll see also in metzia is similar to pikadon for the same reason. We'll talk about that more. It's a very fundamental shir because it's basically another iteration of daf yud ched in ksuvos, which is basically the exact same Gemara where it's very famous. People learn ksuvos, second paradox. You're gonna want to hear the shir. So the Rabbah comes to the Rabbah. Torah made the mixes of taina yishaba. Someone, I lend you $100. He says, I only borrowed $50 from you, right? I only borrowed $50 from you. So he has to take a shvuah on the rest. Chazaka, why is this true? What's the rationale behind the Torah? It's sort of like Darshan time Makra. Chazaka ain't the maze panav in the malchovo. The real reason is because a person, if someone lend you money, you're not gonna go and deny it, blatantly deny it. Right? It's chutzpah to do that. Either it's inherently a person don't like to embarrass themselves. Someone lent you money to completely deny something is a hazah. Or the other reason is because he did you a favor. That right? He did a favor, he loaned you money, so therefore you're not gonna completely deny it. Well, really, he'd like to admit to everything, pay back everything. The reason he's not admitting to everything, I don't have all the money now, so I'll admit to half. and I'll get the rest later. Torah knows he's obligated in everything, right? This ground said he owns everything, so they make a take a shvua, so he should admit to everything. Yaakov holds whether it's the father, the person you lent the money, or even the son of the father doesn't know about his father's thing. Ein Omeiz, a person will not go ahead and have the ha'azah, have the chutzpah, right, to blatantly deny it, even to his son. And therefore the reason of Rabbah, Moda Mixed would apply to the son also. He feels sort of a kinship to the son also. The son of the father did him something favorably. He's not going to go deny it. The person who lent you the money, you're not going to deny him. But when it comes to the son, you're not going to be embarrassed to deny everything, right? So therefore, when you go ahead, when we do lo meiz, meisha avedahu, and the fact that he doesn't go ahead and he admits the 50, admits the half, right? He's considered like a meisha aveda, someone who's returning something, like in our Mishnah, Motzi Mitzia, he's doing it on his own accord, so therefore we exempt him because probably he's telling the truth, right? Right? The fact he could have, right? He could have denied everything. The fact that he's admitting migo that he could have denied it, migo the kafir lebekula, he could have denied everything, and he's admitting to half of it. We have to believe him. Migo means you give belief. I mean, it makes sense to logically believe him because he could have said something better, and he's not saying something better, so therefore we believe him. It's like a Meisha Aveda, so when we find someone who's lost, he could have not even mentioned it. The fact that he's coming forth and finding Messiah, and he's only admitting to half of what the person is seeking, so we believe him. That's the conclusion of today's share. Stay tuned for Iyun ben Sio. Now, the problem arises over here. So let's go back. We said Rabbi Yitzchak holder is ben Yaakov, right? That's very well in the case of this case. Ton a katan, that's the maskan. A katan, the son of the father, is demanding the $100 payment. Eliezer ben Yaakov says that even in that case, right, there's no migu da'aza. He's not going to want to deny everything, so therefore make him take a shvuah. But Moshe Mitzia, right, no one's towing him, theoretically. So there's a concept of migu di bari shasik. He could have been silent. He could have not even come to the person who's looking. He wrote, I lost an object. He wrote on the bulletin board. He could have not come. Why about migu di bari shasik? He should be believed even according to Rabbi Yitzchak. So therefore, some say that Rashi holds like the Rimagash, that migu di bari shasik is not exempt from a shvuah, only wins monetarily. But others deny that. But I have a very good answer for Rashi. Stick around for Iyun ben Sion coming up next.